for us this morning. Good morning to you, Joe.
Good morning to you and welcome to St Andrews. In fact, if you look over my shoulder, you will see the Chancellor of the Exchequer and his distinctive shock of white hair heading in towards the Fairmount Hotel. He is playing host today to the world's top finance ministers and central bankers. He's just gone into the Fairmount Hotel, and many of them have been arriving over the last hour or so. Things have slipped a little bit, but the agenda pretty much remains the same. The crisis of a year ago is not quite as acute as it was, but there's still plenty of disagreements and something to argue over today's session.
They've been seeing a lot of each other of late. Then again, the world's key finance ministers and central bankers have had a year like no other. 12 months ago, their financial systems were facing total meltdown. Now they are discussing how best to ensure that that never happens again. Top of the agenda is setting out a framework or rules of the road for how individual economies might behave in future. So China could be told that its consumers should spend a bit more and British shoppers encouraged to save a bit more. The G20 finance ministers will also be talking about how to fund the problems caused by climate change. Britain prefers to do that through the UN's forthcoming Copenhagen summit, while other countries say the G20 itself should be leading the way. Then there's the issue of exit strategies, in light of signs that the world economy is recovering somewhat. This is the reversing or unwinding of the multi-billion-pound stimulus packages which started last year and aimed at kick-starting then dormant economies.
Once we're through this, we must coordinate our plans for the recovery, just as we've coordinated our response to this recession. And as we draw up our plans, we must accept too the biggest risk to recovery would be to exit before the recovery is established.
While Mr Darling says that all countries should keep injecting money into their economies, Britain will be one of the first to withdraw the stimulus package when it raises VAT at the end of next month and starts to make swinging cuts in spending.
Well, as we've seen, the Chancellor, Mr Darling, who's chairing the talks, he has arrived in the building behind me, the Fairmount Hotel, where the meeting is taking place. He's due to address delegates at around 9 o'clock, so the agenda is slipping ever so slightly. A few hours after that, the Prime Minister himself will address the G20 finance ministers, and then we're hoping to get a communique. That's the agreed formulation of words at around 2, maybe 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Joe, thank you very much for that. Back with